You know, I've really been enjoying my elixir fragrances. They come with the downside, and that is the cost. A lot of these elixirs are generally going to be more expensive than your usual normal designer range scents, you know, your EDTs, EDPs, and even parfums. These elixirs are sometimes coming in at a higher price point, especially when you factor in the smaller bottle size, although that isn't the case with every single one. However, I really enjoy them mainly because of the fact that you do get great performance pretty much across the board. I haven't really had any performance issues with these new elixirs. I find that a lot of the times they're a lot more refined, a lot more robust, a bit more going on than, again, some of the earlier flankers. And I've just been kind of partial to them. So here are 7 that are kind of my favorite right now. This first one is going to be Herrera Bad Boy Elixir. So this line is full steam ahead. They've been putting out a new one, I don't know, probably pretty close to every year. Maybe they've taken a bit of a break here and there, although it seems like they have sped up a little bit here. They've put out a few limited edition releases and things like that. But this one here, Bad Boy Elixir, is going to be kind of within their main lineup, where it looks like it's a core scent that's going to be here to stay for a while, and it's one that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, a lot more than I thought I would. So this one has leather, cedarwood, and sage. That's all they give us, and that's fine. There's definitely more going on here. Definitely a sweetness, and really based on the note breakdown, it doesn't look like it would be sweet, but you do get a tonka bean vanilla combo, maybe even some patchouli as well. The woods are prominent, the leather is prominent, the sage, maybe not so much. There's not much of an aromatic focus on this one. This is pretty on par with kind of your newer style scent. So the sweet, kind of trendy style, that's kind of what this one has going on here as well. So nothing that is, you know, going against the grain by any means. However, at this point, I find that I do gravitate towards stuff like this. This is the type of thing that would be an easy one to reach for. Not so much in spring and summer, but definitely when it's cooler outside. The interesting thing about this one is it is an eau de parfum concentration. It says right here on the bottom, eau de parfum elixir. So this is not as highly concentrated as most of the ones in this video. However, I've still really experienced great performance from this one consistently. It definitely is no slouch here. As I mentioned, it's new, and so it's going to be a little bit more expensive on discounters right now. The price will continue to come down as time goes on, and I think even here in a few months when you're going to want to start wearing this one, maybe the price will have dropped just a little bit more by then. Probably not drastically, but it might have come down by another $5, $10 or so, maybe by the time we get into winter. So I think that will happen over time. Overall, I do like this one. Out of the Bad Boy lineup, this is one of my favorites. Right now, my 2 favorites would be this one, the Elixir, and the Le Parfum version, which has been out for a few years. Cobalt and Cobalt Elixir, those are good too, but I do prefer this one over those. This next one is Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. So you could actually go for 2 versions here. This one or Elixir Absolu. I don't know. It's a toss-up for me. There are times where I like this. There are times where I like the Elixir Absolu better, or it's just more or less for what situation you're going to and what mood you're in. And so this is kind of the one I'm going for right now. This one has that nice honey, tobacco, and tonka bean mixture with some lavender and some vanilla, which carries over from basically every other fragrance within this lineup, starting at the original Le Male, which uses those 2 notes heavily. This one obviously came out before Elixir Absolu. Now, the Elixir Absolu version kind of has a plum accord in there, which they use pretty heavily. It's a little bit sweeter in regards to being a fruity sweetness, whereas this one is not fruity. The sweetness here is coming from that kind of honey, tonka, vanilla, tobacco deal that this one has going on. I find this one in particular to be a little bit more refined, maybe just a little bit more mature, whereas Elixir Absolu kind of goes back to more of the Le Male roots, where it's a little bit more kind of youthful leaning, kind of in a similar ballpark to Ultra Male in terms of that type of sweetness and who it would appeal to. But yeah, when the regular Elixir version came out, I knew pretty much right away it was going to be a hit. You could just tell. I mean, the note breakdown gave you a really good idea, but as soon as I smelled it, I figured that it was going to be one that would go over well, and it definitely has, and definitely has for my collection as well. Really like this one. I get great performance out of it as well. Now this one comes in at an actual parfum concentration, which is a nice little bonus too. Okay, this next one I've talked about here recently quite a bit just because it's one that I've really been enjoying. It sucks that it's expensive. Oh, by the way, the first two here, they're obviously, you can tell, the first one was 100 ml. Le Male Elixir is a 125 ml. Normally, my bottle is a 75 ml. That was just all I could get when it first came out, but you can get them in the 125 for a normal price pretty much. So the first two aren't really too outrageous right now. The next couple we're getting into are a little bit more premiumly priced, but Guilty Elixir, yeah, this is a 60 ml. This is coming in at, I don't know, usually $115 or so on discounters right now, depending on where you're shopping and just in general what's going on. That might adjust a bit more as well, although it will never come down to a point where it's a reasonably priced scent relative to everything else on the market. You know, it's not going to get there. So this is all about the white florals, a little bit of a sweetness in here. You get some musk as well. The woody notes are not overly prominent in the sense of being like a spicy cedar wood or anything like that. It's a very light, mild kind of woody leaning dry down. This is mostly all about the florals and just kind of some of the bright citrus off the top, and then just a little bit of this kind of sweet vanilla type of smell a bit later on. So again, kind of is in that Reflection Man DNA, but with a bit of a twist. This one is a true parfum concentration as well, which is nice. It is yet another amazing performer where you spray it on in the morning and you're set for the day. This next one has grown on me substantially, and again, it comes down to the fact that I try to remain as neutral as I can and take everything into consideration when it comes to smell and especially price point, you know, and it's hard because, you know, I buy this stuff because that's what I do, but not everybody does. So I have to try to remain neutral on whether I think something is worth the price. And this one has gotten better in terms of price point. Still is not great, but compared to when I bought it at retail, obviously it is adjusted in favor a lot because it's been on discounters for a while now. For as low as like $102, I was seeing it there for a while. It's Acqua di Gio Elixir. Again, I paid whatever the retail price was for when it first launched, and this is a 50 ml bottle. So they, you know, a lot of the elixirs can be 60 sometimes. They shaved another 10 off of this one and just made it a 50 ml, and that's it, which doesn't really help things. So this has that Acqua di Gio kind of fresh aquatic DNA, kind of bits and pieces of even like an Acqua di Gio parfum, a little bit, a small amount, but what they're doing here is they're adding leather, a prominent leather accord, which is something that hasn't been done yet within this lineup, and it's something that it turns out I really like a lot, actually. This took me off guard because it is an elixir and it is a bit heavier and richer than some of the pre-existing ones, but still not maybe to the level that I was expecting, given the name, the bottle being this kind of classy black look, and the price point. I, at first, was expecting maybe just a little bit more. You know, that's just going into it in my head. I was expecting something different. When I tried it for the first time and I didn't get what I was kind of planning on it to be, it did throw me off. I've spent more time with it. I've worn it more, and I do enjoy it. It's a bit more floral than some of the other versions as well, which also kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. But the leather does do a good job to balance it out more. This one is also a parfum concentration, which thank God, you know, it's already too expensive as it is, so at least they're doing that. It is an amazing performer though, really good longevity, and for what it's worth, pretty decent projection too, given the high concentration. Is it as good as the parfum for me? No. Is it as good as Profondo for me? No. However, I do prefer it over basically everything else in the line as far as in production stuff. I'm going to wear this over the EDT and EDP any day. Azzaro forever wanted Elixir. We're kind of getting back on track with normal size bottles. You know, this is a 100 ml bottle, and usually you can get it for right around $95 to $100. This one is a parfum concentration as well, so this is actually one of the more reasonably priced Elixir flankers here in this video, which is a breath of fresh air. This one is all about the raspberry and leather. I absolutely love this stuff. It smells great. It's pretty much nothing like any of the other Azzaro Wanteds. It's definitely nothing like the original Wanted. Maybe shares a little bit of a sweetness similarity to the Most Wanted Parfum, but even that's a bit of a stretch. It's not cut and dry by any means. This one kind of branched off and did its own thing. You can also see they're following the trend that a few other brands have followed, where it's just pure gold, you know? I mean, it definitely is a head turner as far as the presentation is concerned. This one is, it looks pretty cool sitting on your shelf. There's something about that raspberry leather combination mixed in with all of the other sweet notes that you get out of this one that is just, it hits the nail on the head. This is kind of exactly what I'm looking for in a cool weather scent. Yet another great performance, just like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. They're all just great performers, and that's also nice to have here. In the case of this one, being suitable for cold weather, you want it to be able to project and push through, you know, cold winter air, and this is the type of thing that does. Invictus Victory Elixir is up next, sticking with that cool weather trend here, and I understand they have a few other ones that you could go for as well, but I do really like just Victory Elixir. I think this one is great. Definitely a big improvement over the original Victory. This one has tonka bean, incense, and vanilla. Sweet, kind of smoky with a bit of an amber undertone as well a bit later on. Kind of tying back to that original Victory, which you've probably smelled. But just kind of doubling down on it, basically taking that pre-existing DNA and figuring out a way to make it even heavier, even richer, and even stronger, both in terms of how it smells, but also just in how it performs as well. So this one is classified as an Elixir Parfum Intense concentration. So, you know, sometimes they kind of get a little bit creative with how they name these scents as far as the concentration is concerned. So, you know, your guess is as good as mine on this one. I'm going to say, and give them the benefit of the doubt, that it's probably a full parfum, but who knows? What I can say is it definitely performs like one. No surprise, pretty much every Invictus flanker, for the most part, has above average performance, and this one is no exception either. Nice, sweet, smoky take on an otherwise pretty common smell. So this one does stand out a little bit more than a few of the others in the lineup. And we're going to finish this video on a positive note here as we wind down summer. It's Y Elixir. This one has lavender, geranium, frankincense, and even a bit of oud. Here's the Y for you. Again, this one, when it first came out, it kind of threw me off a little bit, although I was expecting to get maybe a little bit more oud out of this one. Not that I necessarily wanted to, but they listed it. And when they only give you, in this case, 4 notes, where it used to be you would get like 10 or 15 or something on average for most fragrances or more, I figured, well, maybe they are using a fair amount of oud and they want us to focus on it. And when you smell it, you realize that that's really not the case. You get the faintest amount of a woody undertone, but it's not really all that strong. And you could even argue that it's not much of an oud. I mean, maybe a little bit when you think about it, but it's mostly just a woody undertone. It doesn't really have the same characteristics that you would expect out of an oud accord in general. That being said, you do get some of that frankincense. It smells amazing, just giving it a little bit of a kind of, not necessarily a smokiness, but almost this slight resinous smell. Very, very minor, just kind of a resinous type of sweetness to the smallest amount. And then that geranium and, you know, the lavender and all of that other stuff that you come to expect out of this is still very present and the star of the show. Even some amber wood, most likely being used in here as well, kind of giving you that ambroxan feel. So this one is a 60 ml bottle, and if you look really, really close at the bottom, it is a parfum concentrate. I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to see it, but it's comical to me how small they made that writing. I can't even get close enough for you to even see where the writing would be. But it's definitely kind of interesting. So yes, true parfum, and performs like one as well. I do get good performance out of it. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some of my favorite Elixir fragrances, yeah, for the most part, they're more expensive. However, I do find that at least they make up for it in terms of performance. If you've had issues with some other flankers in these lineups, the EDPs and stuff, maybe not performing as well, you'll probably have better luck with these. I will drop links to everything down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.